morning again. This is Rabbi Shlomo First here at Yeshiva Tsama Nafshi. We're learning our second shir, Mishna Berura. We're just finishing up this with last year on this until maybe we'll repeat it again when we get close to Yom Kippur. But this is a halacha which is relevant to giving review, criticism, tochacha to someone who is not keeping a mitzvah from the Torah. So how do you approach a person and try and help him come back onto the road of serving Hashem? So here the Mechaber, I think we'll read over the Mechaber again. Because Yao, if you'd like to read let's start from the Mechaber all over again. The Sif Beis, Tov Reish Ches, Sif Beis. So we have a Nafshi she'oichelos, Mishoshis Ad HaShechecha. You had women, this is on Erev Yom Kippur, that are eating and drinking right up until sunset.
Okay. Nashim she'ochlos v'shosos ad shechashecha v'hein einan yodos shemitzvah lahosif mechol al HaKodesh.
Okay, so you have women. It could be anybody else. Women is just the case that was most common, but it could be anybody else. It's not specifically women, right? And they're eating and drinking right up until sunset, and they don't know, right? That's the key point. They don't know that it's a mitzvah to be add on from Erev Yom Kippur and Mikabel accept upon themselves the fast of Yom Kippur, ideally, like say 13 or so minutes before the sun sets. Right? They don't know that. So they go straight up until sunset and they're eating and drinking. So what's your reaction to these people? Right?
Ein memachin biyadan kadei shelo yiva'u la'asos bezadon.
So you don't protest against them. Right? Even though they're doing something that's wrong, you don't protest against them in order that they shouldn't come to do it wantingly. Right? When we say b'meza, they shouldn't do it willingly, knowingly. Right now they don't know, so it's better that they'll continue to do something wrong but unknowingly, we call b'shoigeg, right? Rather than informing them that they were doing something wrong, and they may go ahead and do it, continue doing it, and that'll be a wanton transgression.
B'shogeg?
Shogeg.
That means unintentional?
That's right. Shogeg is unintentional. That's what we say. Huadin. That's what the Haggah says. You can begin there with the Haggah. Huadin. The same law applies.
And it's better to be b'shogeg than it is to be... What's the other word?
Mezidim.
Mazidim.
Right. It's better to be unknowingly transgressing the law rather than doing it wantingly, wanted transgressions.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. You can continue reading it.
Okay. V'hu hadin b'chol devar isur amrinan mutav shiyu shahogil v'lo shogagin v'lo yiyo v'zidin.
I would say it's better, mutav, it's better shogagin, it's better that they do it unknowingly and not to do it wantingly, knowingly, and rebelliously.
Okay, those are the two words, mazidim.
That's right. Those are the words we mentioned in the Shmona Esrei a couple of days ago, right?
Okay. V'darka she'eino meforash batorah Afalpi Shahu the Orasa. Aval Im. Meforash B'Torah. Melchim Biyadan. Vav Reish Aleph.
Vav Reish Aleph. That's
the Misham Ha'atur.
right. That's a acronym for Rabbeinu Asher. Right. That's the source of this halacha. Right. Rabbeinu Asher. Rabbeinu Asher, otherwise known as the Rosh.
Okay, what does it mean what we just read?
Okay, so that's dafka specifically, she'einu meforish b'Torah. Dafka specifically if it's not something explicit in the Torah. Hafalpi shu d'oraisa, even though shu d'oraisa, even though it is a Torah commandment, you have many commandments which are not explicitly written in the Torah, but they're
but regardless, it's still considered a Torah. How's that possible? If it's not written in the Torah, it's considered a Torah commandment.
Because there's, for example, giving tzedakah. So it's not exactly explicit in the Torah. You have examples of it in the Torah. You have the giving the maxis a shekel. You have.
That's not called tzedakah?
That is a form of tzedakah, right? Take a look. One second. That's only going to take us a little bit. Let's say not to get angry. Is that a mitzvah d'oraisa or not?
No.
Is not getting angry a mitzvah at all? Or is it a characteristic?
Well, it doesn't say you shall not get angry. I don't think it says that in the Torah exactly, right? Well, let's say a person does get angry. And does that mean he's violating anything in the Torah? We say there are Taryag mitzvahs. There are 613 mitzvahs.
Okay, what's
right?
Taryag mean?
Taryag is an abbreviation of Tesh Reish Gimel. Taryag.
Okay.
Tuf is
adds up to 613.
yeah. Well, Tuf is 400.
Okay.
Reish is 200.
Okay.
And Yud is 10, and Gimel is 3. That gives us 613 mitzvahs. However, those are the major explicit mitzvahs that are written in the Torah, which are d'oraisa. But you have other mitzvahs which are not explicit in the Torah, nevertheless they are considered to be mitzvahs min Torah.
Okay.
For example, this one we're talking about of what we call Tosefis Yom Kippur. You're supposed to take on extra time before sunset and accept upon yourself the holiness of the day of Yom Kippur.
Okay, let me ask you a question about that too.
Sure.
I thought, we don't add on and we don't subtract and we don't go to the right and we don't go to the left. And
Right.
we add on the Shabbos and we extend this and we do this little. I'm not understanding. Who are we to do all these things?
Right. Exactly. So these things are usually derived from the Torah itself, meaning it may. Okay, let's say you want to HaKodesh Misha, you want to marry a woman, right?
Yes, I want to marry a woman. Please God, make it speedily in our days.
Be'ez Hashem, a good wife, and to help you through life. Be'ez Hashem, that's Hashem. So you can, the way we do it, is that a mitzvah? Is that a mitzvah d'oraisa? And also how you go about doing it. You give a ring, right? Right? Giving ring is like giving the money. Giving the money. So A lot of things are learned out. For example, we know that there's a mitzvah, everyone would agree, there's a mitzvah to eat matzah on the Tesvav, the 15th of Nisan. Right? Pesach. We know there's a mitzvah to sit in the sukkah on the 15th of Tishrei, on Tesvav Tishrei. Right? But there's also an additional mitzvah, midoraisa, that a person should eat, just like he has to eat a certain amount of matzah on Pesach, he has to eat a certain amount of bread in the sukkah, the first night of Sukkot. Right? That's learned out from a Gezer Shavuot. It says Tesvav, the word Tesvav, the 15th of Nisan shows by Pesach, and it says the same phrase Tesvav by Sukkot. So they learn just like you have to eat matzah on Pesach, you have to eat bread in the sukkah on Sukkot.
Okay.
Right? But that's not explicit in the Torah. Right?
I mean, it didn't come out and say that exactly?
Right. By Pesach it says you've got to eat matzahs. Right? But where you look high and low, where did it say you have to eat bread in the sukkah? It doesn't say anywhere explicit I have to eat bread in the sukkah.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
Right? So there are many things, right? But it's all derived from the Torah itself. And so there are other times which you were asking, the Rabbanan will come along and add on. And sometimes they'll add, sometimes they'll subtract. If Rosh Hashanah comes out on a Shabbos, right? When it comes out on a Shabbos, we don't blow shofar. The Torah says you should blow shofar on Rosh Hashanah. But the Rabbanan came along and said if it falls out on a Shabbos, we're not going to blow shofar on Shabbos.
It's been a very long time since it fell on Shabbos for Shabbos.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah, it happens.
A few years ago.
Yeah.
When I first came here.
2009, right?
It was like 2013 or 2014, one of those first years that I was here, we didn't blow shofar on Rosh Hashanah. I don't remember which year exactly, but one of those first few years I was here.
Sure. So, happens. So there are rules when you can add, when you can subtract, when you can and when you can't, and there are rules for it. So,
Okay.
So it's derived from the Torah of everyone for HaKodesh, right?
Yeah. Oh, so now the remark continues. In your dea, the last two words on the page, you have it there? If you know it. In your dea, if you know.
Ve'im yodea she'ein devarev nishma'im lo yamar barabim laho chichan rak pa'am achas aval lo yarbeh b'sochachos me'achar sheyodea shelo yishma'u alev aval b'yachid chayav v'ho chicho
Good.
al shia kanu v'yaka lenu.
What's that?
So, okay, I'm glad you're well enough to come.
Gracious.
So now the Ramah says, if it's known by you, if you know this person who's doing something which is forbidden, and you know that he's not going to be readily interested in hearing what you have to tell him, right? If it's public, you only give him criticism one time. One time and one time only, give him criticism, and that's enough. And you're not to be extensive in your tochakas. Don't be great in how much criticism you give him, because you know that he's not going to listen to you. That's all in public. But if it's privately, someone's doing something privately, and you can give him criticism privately, then you have to criticism ad sheyikenu until he hits you or until he curses you. So this is what we discussed yesterday. And this
In
is
private, you mean I can smack someone? Is that what you're saying?
no,
Oh, no, he just has to stop.
Until.
Ah, okay.
So that's what we're going to see the Berura now. That's what we actually did most of this yesterday. And since you weren't here yesterday, it's worthwhile going over again. What does it mean until again? You're trying to give this guy criticism. He's getting angry at you. He's not interested in hearing what you have to say. He's getting angry and angrier. But yet you have an obligation. You have to fulfill your mitzvah. Your mitzvah is, if it can be done, if you have the mitzvah, you have the mitzvah to criticize him because you want him to stop. But he's not interested in hearing from you. And he's getting ready to hit back or to curse. Right? So how far do you have to go?
Is this what we've been learning this entire time that we've been reading this? Is this particular subject?
More or less, yeah. More.
Because I'm still not understanding.
Okay, go ahead. Let's see it.
Should we just keep going?
No. Go ahead. Let me hear. Yeah.
The book is telling us we have an obligation to rebuke someone.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't sit right with me.
Think about it this way. We have an obligation to be responsible for our fellow Jew. If we just do nothing, if we just watch and see him damaging himself and damaging others, and we don't do anything, then we're not fulfilling our responsibility.
Okay, so are we talking about seeing someone smoking a cigarette and their secondhand smoke is hurting people and they're killing themselves because of the cigarette? Are we talking about things that happen in people's homes that shouldn't be happening, or things that happen in shuls and what exactly are we talking about here?
Okay, so first of all, we're talking about is a mitzvah or a nevera, a mitzvah or a sin, which is explicit in the Torah, right? Clearly, openly written in the Torah, right? That's number one, right? So, let's say you see a person smoking a cigarette on Shabbos. Now,
What if it's not on Shabbos? Just you see that, because this Torah says we can't hurt ourselves. They've come out now and they said, you know what, a cigarette's going to kill you, and it's going to kill the guy next to you first. Okay, so I'm doing something it's obviously it's got to be against the Torah. If I'm smoking a cigarette, I'm trying to kill. I'm on the way to kill myself, according to the world we live in today.
mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's just a guy smoking a cigarette. I mean,
So look, if you cared about him, right? Number one. Number two, if you think you can get through to him. And number three, if you're friendly enough with him that he'll take it in the right way, right? And he may listen to you. So you gotta give it a try.
so that's what we just learned now. The three conditions that you were saying. That's what we're talking about right now.
Basically.
Okay, I think I can follow this now.
Right.
All right, so there's conditions when you can and can't do
Yes,
this, and
there are
how it's
conditions.
supposed to be done.
Right.
Okay.
There's another thing to think about, and that is quite often the laws of the Torah that put obligations upon us make it such that if we are being proactive, if we're learning and being proactive and saying, okay, I've got to do this, it means I have to make myself into a certain kind of person. In order to give Torah, so you have to be a good friend to the person, you have to care about them, you have to be in a position where they know that you are really acting for their own benefit. They know that you're really doing it for the right reasons. You have to make yourself into that kind of a person. That's part of this mitzvah, is making myself into the kind of a person that is sensitive, that is a good friend, that loves people, etc., etc.
Okay. Thank you.
So it's certainly it's not something that you rush in. Again, the goal is you want the person to change for his own benefit. So you have to think about how and in what ways will be most effective in achieving your goal, right? You know, your goal is not just to, I have a good chance to yell at a guy now, right? You might like to want to yell at a guy. It might be fun, yeah. But that's not your goal. If your goal is getting one yell at a guy, go to the edge of the Grand Canyon and yeah.
Have at it. Enjoy.
You can go to the desert.
Go to the desert too if you want to yell.
Make a behavior course.
So I've been to the edge of the Grand Canyon, and I never thought that I could have yelled there.
No.
I blew it.
Oh, you gotta go back.
But it's amazing, the Grand Canyon. You've been in it. You've been there, right?
I was there once. I was at the edge.
I was stood at the abyss and looked down, but it wasn't the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
And I didn't really go anywhere.
There's something here called the Red Canyon in Iraq.
Could be.
It's beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen that too. So it's very beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. So just to reinforce this, that we have these, as we did once already, we were going to review these Berurahs. If you want, Matizar, you can see the Berurahs on the left hand, the small print in the left. Is that too small for you to read there? Thank you very much.
Okay, let's see if the glasses work. The beer halacha.
You have the one there, the first one is in the middle. You're obligated to chastise him.
Hayav lehohicho. Uv sefer hasidim. Siman taf yud gimel.
So that's where it is. In the Sefer Hasidim, that's where it's written in his subcategory, Taf Yud Gimel, 413.
Kachav davka. Ish es achiv shelibo gaspo. Aval im haya ish acher she'im yochichenu. Yisna'enu. V'yinkom bimenu ein lehochicho. That's the end of it, huh?
Okay, we could stop there for a moment, right? So it says, who is obligated? Meaning, when you have an obligation, we're talking about that you're obligated to do it, just like you're obligated to keep Shabbos, you're obligated to keep kashrus, obligated to keep eating in the sukkah on sukkahs. You have an obligation to criticize, to give tochacha, rebuke. But this is specifically ish es achiv, should be gospel. This is specifically a person who his friend feels fond of him, right? His friend is fond of him. If he's somebody who this fellow is not so fond of, he's a regular guy, might like him very much, right? But he's a regular guy who's not extremely friendly with him, right? And if you go ahead and criticize him, he's going to create a situation where the fellow is going to hate him and be resentful against him. You're not to maybe give any rebuke to him because he's not going to take it in a good way.
So this is where the saying, we only hurt the ones we love, comes from.
Okay, good. Good. I guess so. Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't so angry when I said that, though. That's better. La'olam yadur adam. Binkom rabo. Kashem kachbeel tochachoto. Tochachto. V'im lav al yadur mutav shiyu shagim.
Shogigim, exactly right. So it says here that there's a Gemara that says La'olam yidur adam b'makom rabu. Really, always a person should live in the close by to his Rebbe. A person should live close by to his Rebbe. Why? Right? Shikabel tochacho. So the Rebbe is going to see his comings and goings, and he's going to have to give him criticisms. He's going to keep an eye on him. He'll be able to see him on a regular basis, and therefore, by seeing him on a regular basis, he'll find what to criticize for this person. The person should find a place to live that's close by to his Rebbe, so he can receive the criticism he needs to improve.
I think of Shabbat wasn't that a deal about Brachim living close to the yeshiva, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Not able to go before, but they're doing other stuff.
It says v'ilav, and if al yidur, right? And if not, what's if not? If not, if you can't take it, he's not going to listen to the Rebbe. He's not going to listen to the Rebbe. Al yidur, don't live by the Rebbe, because it's mutav shiu shogigim. It's better that he remains uninformed about what he's supposed to do, right? Rather than get the criticism, the rebuke, the tokacha, and not change because of it. It's better he remains shogigim, unknowing, rather than being knowing and wanted in his transgression.
Ignorance is bliss, baby.
Not always.
It's only temporary. In the end, they're going to say ignorance is no excuse, right? Okay, very good. So that's the main thing. The main thing are these basic three things. You have to do it in a way it's going to preserve and accomplish your goal, and that means that you're going to have to be able to be friendly enough with the person who's going to accept your criticism, and you have to deliver the criticism in a way that's going to be effective, and therefore, in those cases, you have an obligation to try and help the person. Okay, stop and start the next in a few minutes.